This week on Machinery Pete TV, sale of a John Deere loader and flail chopper lead up to the big ticket item, a beautiful 1998 John Deere 8400. In Tractor Tales, a classic Alice Chalmers from Minnesota. And we'll take you to the intersection of Minnesota football and fine spirits.
Your machinery is a serious investment and at the heart of every farming operation. Some call it a passion. We're Machinery Pete TV, and today we'll cover everything from auction roundups to the classics to the latest trends and technology. Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. Hey folks, welcome to Machinery Pete TV. Now, I gotta tell you, growing up in a small town, west central Minnesota, Benson, about 3,300 people, when we got to go to the big city, that was a big deal. And for us, that was Minneapolis, St. Paul. And one of the most memorable visits I ever made when I was a kid was to the state basketball tournament in 1979. I was standing in the lobby of the St. Paul Civic Center, and in walks one of the teams playing, Lake City. And they had a kid 7'1", Randy Brewer. They wound up winning the state tournament second year in a row that year. And today we're in Lake City for an amazing farm estate auction. I think we're going to see some really tall bidding on this 1998 John Deere 8400 tractor, just over 1,000 hours. Now before we watch it sell, you know the drill. We got to catch up on the latest farm equipment news.
All right, thanks, Greg. Even auctions being impacted by the outbreak of coronavirus happening across the countryside. One of Machinery Pete saying auction companies are continuing to communicate with potential buyers about sales while many move to online bidding in an effort to cut down on large crowds and gatherings. He expects that to be the long-term impact, fewer in-person auctions and more sales held online. And we're hearing from several other sectors of the ag industry facing economic challenges from the virus, including the ethanol industry and corn growers. One of the nation's largest ethanol producers, Poet, saying it's stopping buying corn at some of its facilities. Poet says experts are projecting a 957 million gallon drop in ethanol demand from this month through May, adding up to about 331 million bushels lost in corn demand. For the dairy industry, more buys at the grocery store likely won't be enough to offset losses as the world economy slows. The National Milk Producers Federation forecasting losses over the last 5 weeks to be $2.85 billion. In MPF requesting USDA reopen sign-up for the dairy margin coverage program. On the health front, Anheuser-Busch now joining the list of companies making hand sanitizer. The company says they're using their supply and logistics network to begin producing and distributing bottles of hand sanitizer to accommodate the growing needs across the U.S. Now let's look at some recent prices from around the country. That's it for news. Now back to Machinery Pete.
Hey, stay tuned folks. Coming up, probably one of the nicest loaders you'll run across, a John Deere 843 with a 9-foot bucket. This thing has not seen a lot of use. Well folks, 7 seasons of Machinery Pete TV. I don't think we've ever featured a loader, but I tell you what, this one's worthy of the spotlight today. A John Deere 843 with a 9-foot bucket. Very little use on this thing.
Final call on the loader, $11,250 sold it, $11,000 on the internet going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Hey folks, special treat. I'm here with my friend Craig Sobalski, longtime sports editor for the Rochester Post-Fulton. I actually worked for you, Craig, back when I was building my Machinery Pete business years ago in the early 90s. And Craig, you and I have talked a lot of basketball over the years. You had a first-hand look at Lake City winning their famous 2 state titles in the late 70s. What do you remember about those years?
So in 1978, Lake City had Randy Brewer and several other players back, and of course Randy Brewer, 7-footer. He was just about unbeatable with
He was good.
Really, they had great coaching and a good supporting cast, but he was not just big. He had a soft shot, great hands, knew the game. They were very, very good basketball.
And Randy in high school, was he 7'2" then or 7'3"?
I think he was about 7'1" as a junior and got to 7. I don't know.
Tallest tall.
I didn't have a ladder and a tape measure that got me up there.
Now, Craig, Randy was a farm boy, is that correct?
He was. I know his senior year, the paper wanted us to do an article. We got there and met Randy's parents, Ralph and Marlene, and his younger brother and sister. They were just such down-to-earth, good, solid people. It was a real pleasant evening.
Randy set a state record, 113 points in the state tournament.
Yes, at the state tournament, he set records that they won every game by, I don't know, lots of points. So it was quite a display.
Well, folks, what do you call them? Stock choppers or flail choppers? Now, growing up a little kid in western Minnesota, we always call them stock choppers. And I guess whatever you call it, today we got a really nice 2010 John Deere 115. Now, this morning I looked on MachineryPete.com and I found an Illinois dealer with a 2010 model, like new condition for sale, asking price $14,900. And the dealer said the price of a new one, $23,000 bucks. Here are a few more items that sold on today's sale.
Final call at $3,000. Sold it, $29.5. All in, all down, but it's $2,000, $2,000, sold it, $1,750, same way as the loader, $1,500, $1,600, all in, all down, but give it more, $1,600, $1,600, but it's $1,600, sold them on site, $1,500. Come there now, $425 a miter, $425, all in, all down, but it's $425, $425 a miter. Sold it, $400, $400.
Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
Hey folks, welcome to Red Wing, Minnesota. If you've never been, you got to get here. Beautiful town. And I'm here with my friend Bruce Dankers with Dankers Enterprises. Bruce, I've been bumping into you at sales for many years. I know the equipment that you sell here, you don't mess around. You look for nice stuff.
That's what we try to do here. We like quality and we like stuff that shines.
But you can see the beautiful tractors behind you here. Again, you play in quality. Tell us about this white 160 here.
Well, it's a low-hour 160. I think it's right around that 3,800 hour range. We bought it in a sale down in Wisconsin, but it's a really sharp white. And of course, little Oliver in me, I got a thing for white, so I had to bring it home.
You do have those deep Oliver roots going back to when you were a kid on the dairy farm, right?
That's right, yep.
Now again, what is it about these slightly older tractors with low hours, good condition? Is that what customers want?
Right now, I think the market is kind of going that direction. You know, it's harder to sell, you know, a tractor that's over 50,000. It's easier to sell these tractors under 50 right now, just the way the markets are and everything. So that's kind of the way we're tending to just stay with a little bit down in the lower levels.
Now, that requires a lot of patience to find and acquire older tractors this nice. You're probably starting your day at machinerypete.com looking?
Yeah, we surf the internet pretty good, you know, all different Machinery Pete.
Right.
And a lot of auctions, and a lot of days we come home with nothing. So,
but that's kind of, you have to have that philosophy as a buyer, don't you?
Yeah, you can't be in a rush. So.
Right. And how's demand been for you know, this kind of really high quality, slightly older equipment?
It's been really good. You know, I think last month here we sold about 11 pieces, which I feel that's, you know, it's moving right along. We're very happy with that. So.
Welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week, a real treat for you. We're heading to Plainview, Minnesota, southeast part of the state, to visit my friend Steve Fleece and check out his classic Alice Chalmers. Steve Fleece has a beauty to share with us. This D21 Alice Chalmers supercharged diesel came with a few extras.
Well, we got D21 here, 1965 model. They came out after the D19, and I don't know if there's any more drastic change from going to D19 to this big D21. Had a 426 cubic inch engine in it. I was looking for a 770 Wheatland Oliver, so I found one down by Iowa. A guy named Dean Erickson had one. So my brother John lives in Des Moines, so I said, John, run over and look at this tractor for me. So he went over and looked, and the old guy threw the shed open. He had 15 tractors there. John said, you better get down here. So my brother John and Bill and myself went down, and he wanted to sell them all. So we ended up buying them all. It was just quite a find for us, you know. We were just getting into collecting, and that was a big purchase for us. I mean, that many tractors in one shed, and we're glad we found them. This is just the way we bought this one, and it's been a good runner. We took it on a couple rides, and it hasn't won first place. It would come in third or fourth. We have tractor rides, like we went on the Fleece tractor ride every summer. We go overnight. This year we went to Racine, Minnesota, and we stopped for breakfast, and we stopped at another place for a little snack, and then we go there and watch the tractor pull, and then we go to the hotel and stay overnight. All 10 brothers usually go, and then we have other friends who want to go, and then we come back the next day. I guess that's about it on that one there. It's just big and beautiful.
Hey folks, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. Something you just don't see that often. A 1998 John Deere 8400 tractor, 1,045 actual one-owner hours on it. This thing could be red hot. No other cornhead works like a DRAGO or pays you back like one. Visit your DRAGO dealer and see how you can justify owning a DRAGO on ROI alone.
Your next piece of equipment is on machinerypete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on machinerypete.com.
Well, on January 10th of 2018, folks, the same auction company at our sale today, Sullivan Auctioneers, had a farm auction in Van Buren, Indiana, and they sold a 1999 John Deere 8400, 2,536 hours on it, sold for $100,000. Highest auction price in 6 years. Now today our feature item, I think we might challenge that one. We got a 98 model, 1,045 actual hours.
So we came out here and we walked into the shed, and obviously I was kind of blown away by all the equipment and the lineup that he had, but he had never even mentioned the 8400 to me. So I looked over and I saw it and I said, what in the world is the deal with that? And he said, well, yeah, it's low hour too, but it's a modern tractor, so that doesn't really count. And I said, well, what do you mean by low hours? And he said, you better double check. So I climbed up in it, and at the time it was less than 1,000 hours. I think it had 980 or 990 hours on it. So maybe it's kind of a generational thing. I kind of fell in love with this tractor. Definitely a good caretaker of his tractor. He bought this thing brand new, and he retired from farming officially about 15 years ago. Since then, the tenants have used it a little bit, and they've cleared some snow with it, but definitely one of the nicest 8000 series tractors that we've probably ever sold, even back when they were modern tractors.
Internet, 91,000. Internet, you're running second. 92. Randy Bitter, 92. Down 3. 93, down 4. 94, 4, 5. 95,000. 95, down. You start to think about it. 4 down, 95,000. 95, down. 94, 95, 6,000. 95, 6 down. Stay right there, Roger. 95, 6,000. 95,000. 6 down. 95 down. 95. You do 95.5, 95.5, 95,500, 95.5, you out of it too, so you're going to get 95.5, Texas, 95.5, 95.5, 95.5, all in and all down. Ladies and gentlemen, hammers high, 95.5, and I have, folks, final call on the 8400 at $95,500. Sold it, 95,000, sold it, $95,000.
All right, there you go, folks. The feature item on our show today, the 1998 John Deere 8400, 1,045 one-owner hours on it, sells for $95,000. Was a lot of speculation. Could it go over 100? Didn't quite get there, but I tell you what, that's pretty strong money at $95K. Well, folks, I'm pretty excited. We recently started something new, our Machinery Pete podcast. We post a new episode every other week or so, and what it is, it's me having kind of a longer conversation with a wide range of folks across the ag spectrum. Now, a lot of times it's about machinery, other times not so much. But what we want to do here is tell interesting stories. Now, one of the first episodes we posted was a very interesting story about a Minnesota company making vodka from western Minnesota corn. And it gets more interesting. One of the founders and investors is Chad Greenway. Now, a lot of folks know Chad. He's a farm boy from Mount Vernon, South Dakota, went on to star for the University of Iowa football team, all Big Ten, first round draft choice of my Minnesota Vikings, played 11 seasons, went to 2 Pro Bowls, just a great guy. No Minnesota Viking more respected than Chad Greenway. Now, it was so fun to talk to Chad about what it was like growing up on the farm in Mount Vernon, South Dakota.
So I grew up like a lot of kids on the farm, fixing fence, moving cows, working pigs, throwing a lot of calves, doing all sorts of fun stuff. We raised corn and soybeans, some winter wheat once in a while. We calved out about 150 head at the time, and then we also ran a confinement barn. So we started with dry lot hogs and worked our way into kind of sows and piglets, and then we worked our way into a finishing unit. It was funny, my one grandfather was a 6'5" Republican who drove only red, and my other grandfather was about a 5'4" Democrat who only drove green.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us this week here on Machinery Pete TV in Lake City, Minnesota. And ever since I was a kid, you mentioned Lake City, I think high school basketball, but fun to get down here. I met a lot of great people at the sale today, and how about that John Deere 8400? 1998 model, 1,045 hours on it, $95K. That's pretty strong. Now tune in next week. We'll see you right back here on Machinery Pete TV. Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com.